You guys, I did a 20-minute review just for it to not save. And I'm annoyed. So I'm going to try to give you what I gave in the first one, but I can't make any promises because I'm really annoyed that it didn't save. But we're back. Married to Medicine. This episode was okay. It wasn't what I thought it would be. I thought it would be a little bit more drama, but we're not always here for the drama, so it's okay. Begin the episode with Dr. Jackie and Dr. Heavenly at Phaedra's to talk about the pamper party. As Phaedra opens the door, we see a little dog jump out and Jackie jumps back. Jackie is afraid of dogs. They enter the home. They take off their shoes. They say, Phaedra, do you have anything we can put on our feet? Socks, slippers. She says, wait, right here, have a seat and I'll bring you some slippers. As they're sitting down, they're looking at the decor. They're looking at the aesthetics. They both agree that it is a beautiful home, a beautiful space. Jackie, however, would do something a little different because she's more of a I can't even say the word right now, minimalist. And she has, like the hotel vibes going on, whereas Phaedra is grander. Her style is how she dresses. That's just the way that she is. As they come back, go upstairs into the kitchen space, and they're talking about the other night's events, they ask Phaedra why she invited Quad to the party. Phaedra says, basically, I, invited her because you all were asking about her. There was a lot of questions about what's going on. And I also wanted, to give the ladies the opportunity to see that there is no beef. She also said that she felt like, they're closer to, Quad than they are to Sweet Tea, and she felt like this would help solidify Quad's position in the group. In other words, Phaedra brought her there to not only make TV, not only because the producers wanted her to, but because this allowed for Quad to remain relevant. And I'm not mad at it. It makes for great TV. And what's the difference between, what Heavenly does in some instances and in this instance? Now, was it wrong? Yeah, but it got some views and it got us to talking. Jackie says that she is indeed friends with Quad, but one of the problems that she has with Quad is that Quad tends to not reach out unless it's convenient for her. She says, okay, well, Phaedra's like, well, do you reach out to her? And both Heavenly and Dr. Jackie say, like, yes, we've reached out to her. But the last time we did, she told us that she really wasn't ready to talk and she needed time. And as a result, we let her have her time. Phaedra says, well, even though you all don't think it was a good idea for me to invite her, you have to admit that when she came in, that Quad ushered in a new spirit because her arrival stopped the sisters from fighting. I don't care for Phaedra because of what Phaedra has done in the past, but Phaedra does make good TV. She does make me laugh. And if I hadn't known how she is sometimes, then I wouldn't have this, this position where I'm like, with Phaedra. But, she's doing a good job on the show. Heavenly lets them know, once again, that she doesn't know if Tisha and Greg are ready or not, that she has concerns. Look at the way that Tisha went off and how she was acting and how Dr. G is a psychiatrist and he's crazy. And Tisha seems crazy too. So you can't have crazy with crazy. And Jackie and, Phaedra kind of make excuses saying like, look, she's very emotional. A lot of things will be going on. How would you react if there was additional funds that had to be taken out and venues were changing and she's just under a lot of stress? Heavenly sticks to her thing and is like, look, there needs to be a balance in between them, that she's the crazy one and Damon is the calm one. That's what happens for your marriage. I need for Heavenly to allow these grown people to do whatever it is that they want to do. You've already voiced your opinion. There's no need to continue. We then have Simone. We see Miles and Cecil talk school. We find out from Simone that Miles is seeing his way through, meaning that he is making C's, nothing higher, just C's. Despite knowing this, Cecil feels like instead of him taking additional classes over the summer, that he should take a break over the summer and do like some type of internship. I do feel like he needs to do an internship, but why can't he do the internship and do school at the same time? Why wasn't even this being done throughout the years? It doesn't sound to me like he has a job. It sounds to me like his only job is to go to school. It's time for them to let him go, because at 24, if you're going to school and you're not taking that seriously, then you need to get a job and take that seriously. Simone wants to know, like, how much longer are you expecting us to support you? When are you going to be done? And he says he'll be done next May. Simone says, okay, you have 1 year period and then we are done. And he's like, 1 year for what? To finish school? She's like, for everything, for school, for funds for school, all of that. I'm not going to continue to support you. She says, you've been there for 5 years. That's 5 years of tuition that we've paid. I just want Simone to follow through with it. It is not fair. Simone does bring up a good point, how the money that is going into his college could have been going into my retirement. I would like to stop working at some point, but I'm taking care of a bunch of grown men, and she is, and that is you and Cecil's fault. If Cecil wants to be an enabler so bad, let him do it with whatever limited funds that he has, because I don't even know what Cecil currently does at this point, besides create more division. Cecil doesn't understand why she's trying to push the boys out. He said he feels like she should be encouraging them to stay and that they should be promoting generational wealth. Here's the thing. I'm sure that Simone desires for them to have generational wealth. But the problem is that it seems like you guys have enabled these kids so much so that they've gotten to the period where they don't feel like they have to work for anything and they take it for granted. If you have someone who never puts forth effort, even for the most basic thing like going to school, how do you expect for him to become wealthy? That's going to be another thing that you're going to have to guide him with, because he's seeming to needed to still be guided at 24. Simone at this point has supported him for 5 years. You're not going to continue to get my support when you're doing the bare minimum and you're not working hard to be the best at the things that you need to. She says that she wants it to get to a point where he leaves, she can be naked in her home, come downstairs that way, and have as much sex as she wants to. We then go to Tisha. We see Tisha and Dr. Greg at the venue. They're ready to have rehearsal. They speak about the parties and how things went. We know that Dr. G had such a good time that according to him, it's a blur, whereas Tisha did not, and she is mad because Quad showed up. Dr. G already probably heard this in the morning, but he acts like he's just hearing this, and he says that he does not understand why Phaedra would do that. Like, knowing what that marriage did to him, why would she do that? And this is the problem that I have, because Dr. Greg tries to act like Quad did all of these things to him without truly acknowledging what he did to Quad. We know that they've admitted that there was abuse in the marriage, and yet we're still allowing this man back on our television screens. We still allow Quad back on. Like, there's a whole bunch of things there that we don't quite understand, but the fact that we're acting like Quad was just such a horrible woman to him, and we're not going to act like Dr. G wasn't horrible to Quad in various ways. Physical abuse is bad. So is emotional. So is mental. Like, let's not act like, oh, if he didn't hit her but 1 or 2 times, it's not that bad. He was extremely emotionally abusive. We saw it. We saw instances where he did it, where he tried to control her and all those other things. But we're going to act like Dr. G has changed. So that's their story, and we're sticking to it. He says that he knows things have been frustrating and how stressful she's been, and how changing the event space got him having to pay another $14,000, but everything is done. He's gonna make sure everything is in excess, and she's in confessionals bragging about how, this is one of the things that she loves about him, is how he takes care of things. Meanwhile, word on the street is that the expenses were not paid by Greg, that they were paid by Bravo. Now, how true this is, I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out further down the line. We then see the rehearsal. Tisha is extremely excited. I mean, she's running in there to see different members of her family. She sits on her mom's lap. Her mom pushes her off. We really see that Johnny is their coordinator. Johnny, I need you to get rid of them braids. They look awful on you, sir. They talk about how there's a 23-year age difference. But she's seeing him walking down the aisle and she just feels like he's a provider and he's so handsome, and she just loves his salt and pepper beard, and that's just everything for her. She don't care about 23 years. After he does this and they're still rehearsing, we see Greg step out. He says he has to do something, and he's calling Phaedra because he wants to know from Phaedra what possessed her to invite Quad to the pamper party. Now, is Greg right? Yes. Should he support his wife in all ways? Yes. Do I feel like it didn't make any sense for you to call Phaedra? Because Phaedra's not going to admit that she was being messy, that she was doing what production wanted her to do, that she knew that this would create a scene, this will keep Quad relevant. She's not going to say any of these things. Instead, what she's going to say is that I wanted to show Tisha that there was no beef and that Quad isn't bothered and that they could get along. Greg's like, I have no desire for them to get along. I have no desire for them to be together. What I need you to do is the next time I need for you to have Sweetie's back. And Phaedra says there will be no next time. Greg wants for Phaedra to pick Sweetie over Quad, but that's not fair because it seems like those two ladies have formed their own relationship outside of Greg, especially if they're still maintaining contact and hanging out and stuff since your divorce. Phaedra likes Quad. Now, who she prefers, I don't know. It is fair for you to want her to protect your wife, but Phaedra's loyalties are to Phaedra. We see Toya, it's her birthday. Eugene and their son are making breakfast in bed. Her son, the other one, is in Disney. She's still waiting for him to call, but she said he's probably just worried about girls, so he hasn't called her yet. Eugene says that despite this being her birthday, they're going to make the most of it. It's a lot of crucial events on when this thing was planned, because Heavenly's daughter's going to prom, and it's her birthday, and Curtis couldn't make it, because he's busy working. So it's a lot of things going on. We get back to Tisha. We see her in the bridal suite with her bridesmaids. She's getting ready. They're reminiscing about some of the people that she used to date. We find out that her mother didn't originally like Greg. She didn't like the significant age difference between them. But over time, things changed and she began to love them because Greg is 5 years older than her mother. Take that into context. She said that even though it took her mother longer, her father initially liked Greg as soon as she met him. He liked the fact that she could be provided for, that he had his own practice and things of that nature. And I'm just like, okay, so you just like the monetary things. You didn't care about whether your daughter was truly in a safe space or whether she would be treated like an equal instead of somebody who's supposed to be waiting on this man hand and foot. He's old school is what she says. So I guess she's okay with that for now. It's going to change because after a certain point, you get tired of doing that. I should know. I've experienced that where I was doing more than I should have done. We see everyone headed to the wedding. Oh, before I say that, you all better vet your future significant others. Because in the beginning, what you get is a representative. And that's a lot of times what your parents see. So the fact that they're moving so quickly kind of has me concerned because I do not think that Sweetie, Tisha, whatever she wants to go by, realizes what she's truly getting herself into with Greg. She's watched him over the years and she's still choosing to marry him. Makes me know that you don't see it. Eugene and Toya are happy for him. Toya talks about how she felt like Greg felt stuck. There were instances where he wasn't having intimacy with his wife, 3 whole years to be exact. They joke around about it. I just want Toya to shut up because you don't know how Greg felt. But you're so against Quad that you'll say anything to make it seem like Quad was just this horrible wife. We have Damon and Heavenly who are heading over. He just says that he's excited to see his friend getting married because this is something that doesn't occur every day. Well, neither does your child going to prom. They had to hurry up. go and see their daughter off, watch her take pictures, and then leave for this wedding. This wedding would not have trumped prom, just my opinion. You did all that just to have to stand there and look foolish about your name not being on the list. Heavenly says that as they're driving to the location that she hopes that this wedding works out. She says that she sent Tisha a text earlier in that morning about how everything will be okay, and she got no response. We see Jackie arrive at the destination. She said that she's by herself because Curtis is working in the DR on a project again. So Curtis was just there for the bachelor party that was a couple days ago, but he couldn't come to the wedding. Make it make sense. Why are your priorities to see a bunch of women clapping cheeks and not watch your friend get married? I'm just wondering. Dr. Contessa and her husband show up. They look good. Dr. Contessa looks really good. That's how you show back up on camera. Simone said, I tried to get you to come to the pamper party, but you refused and you missed Quad crashing it. Now, Simone, you know she didn't crash it. We then see Cecil and Phaedra looking through the program, and Phaedra said that it reminds her of a funeral. Simone says, don't say that. And Cecil said, well, it does, because in the program, you see a breakdown of the bridal party. They discussed the different weddings. Simone asked Phaedra about it. Phaedra said, yes, was married for 9 years. We had silk programs, but it doesn't really matter because even with that money spent, the marriage didn't last. That they had been together, I don't know if it was off and on or what, but since high school. And you can see that in this moment that Phaedra was kind of reflecting. And Simone talks about how she likes this version of Phaedra. Okay, so the wedding begins. Phaedra said that Tisha makes Greg beam, and all the people feel that way. Heavenly and Damon arrive, and they're at the door. They say their name, and they're told that they're not on the list. Toya arrives at the same time, which is very convenient, as she's asking what's going on. And Heavenly's like, we're not on the list. And while Toya is trying to act like she cares, Dr. Eugene is not going to act like anything. He's like, let's go, because he's ready to watch his friends get married. Because of all the crap that Heavenly was talking, basically, she got taken off the list. Rather than Tisha discussing that with Heavenly and telling her she heard what she said and that she's planning on taking them off the list, she didn't say anything. I'm not saying that she did not have the right to remove Damon and Heavenly from the list, but given that that is your future husband's friend, and I'm talking about Damon, and I guess we can call Heavenly somewhat of a friend, acquaintance, whatever, you should have contacted them and let them know. Damon said if he's not invited to the wedding, that he's not invited to the wedding. He's not going to call anyone. I actually liked how Damon was handling himself in that moment, but I would have left. I'm not showing up to places where I'm welcome, and I'm not standing around waiting for clarity. Johnny then comes down and says, you're not on the list any longer because I was informed to remove you from it. I don't understand why Phaedra didn't get kicked out, because what Phaedra did was even worse by bringing the ex-wife. Heavenly was wrong, but so was Phaedra. Word on the street with that is they tried to do the same thing to Phaedra, but Phaedra brought the pastor, so that's why she didn't get kicked off. I don't know how true it is. I guess we'll see over time. Toya tells the group as she walks in that Heavenly and Damon can't come in, and some of them are laughing at this. We then see Sweetie walk down the aisle. The venue looks beautiful. Sweetie looks, she looks nice. I'm not going to say she didn't look nice. She did. But I hate her bouquet. I hated it. The venue had all this white, and then you got these white flowers with this bright pink, and it didn't even look like a pretty pink flower. Like, you could have chose a better looking flower, my opinion. We hear them say the vows, and as they're saying the vows, Heavenly and Damon walk in with Heavenly smiling and giggling. I was weak. Tisha said no, but production said yes. They look happy. He salutes his wife. They have cocktail hour, and they discuss the party again and how if anyone should have been uninvited, it should have been Phaedra. They show Quad. She's having a self-care day. She doesn't care, and she wishes them the best. And it did seem like it was genuine, which is all it can be at this point. Quad don't want that man. The reception starts. It looks fun. All the cast talk about how much love they see between them and how they enjoy themselves. Heavenly approaches Tisha to tell her how beautiful the wedding was. Tisha says, I'm mad at you. She says, for what? For what? I didn't you know how you know how Heavenly is. Like, Heavenly is gonna act like she don't know what's going on. She said, I'm mad about you. We'll talk about it later. Heavenly says she didn't do anything. We know you did. They all had a good time, and that was the end of it. And I was just happy that it wasn't like this big showdown at the wedding, because I would have hated to have seen that. Because Heavenly, I love you, girl, but sometimes you make it hard to root for you when you do some of the things that you do. So it was good to see that. I'm interested in hearing more about this, and I want to see if Damon says anything to Dr. G, because I do feel like that was wrong. I don't know what Dr. G could have done, though, because like, if you left Damon's name on the list, is he gonna come without his wife? No, he's not gonna slight his wife. So I guess it was a lose-lose situation, but he should have gave him a heads up, in my opinion. That's if he even knew. You all, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and do that. I'd like it to happen sooner than later. If there's anything that I did not discuss that you want to talk about, put it down in the comment section and I'll be more than happy to respond. Until next time.